Sometimes history does not change because of a sword, not because of a king, not because of a battlefield. Sometimes history changes because a message arrives too late. In 1814, the United States and Britain were exhausted. The War of 1812 had dragged on for years. Cities had been burned. Ships had been captured, and far away in Europe, diplomats finally sat down to end the war. In the city of Ghent, Belgium, British and American representatives reached an agreement. On December 24, 1814, peace was signed. The war was supposed to be over, but there was one problem. The soldiers did not know. There was no radio, no telephone, no instant news, no breaking update. There was only paper, ink ships, weather and time. A peace treaty could be signed in Europe. But on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, men could still be marching toward death. And that is exactly what happened. In Louisiana, near New Orleans, British forces were preparing for a major attack. New Orleans was not just a city. It was a gateway, a valuable port, a route into the interior of America. If Britain captured it, the future of the entire region could change. So both sides prepared for battle. On one side stood the British soldiers, disciplined, experienced, and confident. On the other side stood American forces. Under Andrew Jackson, a mixed army of regular soldiers, volunteers, free black men, local allies, and regional fighters. They waited behind defensive lines. The air was cold, the ground was muddy, the tension was high, and somewhere far away, peace already existed, on paper. But a piece of paper that has not arrived has no power on a battlefield. On January 8, 1815, the British army advanced. They moved in formation toward the American defensive line. Drums echoed, smoke rose. Orders were shouted, confusion spread. Then the firing began. The battle was brutal and short. In less than an hour, the British attack collapsed. The American positions held. The British suffered heavy losses. Their commander, Sir Edward Pakenham, was killed. Hundreds of men fell on a battlefield that, in reality, should no longer have existed. The Treaty of Ghent had been signed 15 days earlier, but news of the treaty had not yet reached America, so the fighting continued. That is the strange part of this story. The men who died that morning did not die because peace had failed. They died because peace had not arrived in time. When the news finally spread, the Battle of New Orleans was remembered in America as a major victory. Andrew Jackson's reputation grew, and the battle later helped his political rise. But the most important part of the battle was not only its result, it was its timing. The Treaty of Ghent had already been signed. Peace already existed. On paper, the problem was simple. The news had not reached America yet. In the early 19th century, information did not move. In seconds, official news traveled by ship. Weather conditions, sea routes, and distance could slow everything down. A decision made in Europe might only be felt in America weeks later. The Battle of New Orleans showed this clearly. The problem was not that peace did not exist. The problem was that the news of peace arrived too late. That is why this event holds a special place in history. One signature could end a war, but until that message reached the battlefield, soldiers could still be fighting. Sometimes history is not changed only by great decisions. Sometimes it is changed by when those decisions arrive.